Are you ready?
Well, I think so.
Okay, okay, great, great. This will be fun. Hi, everybody. This is Tom Fish at Action Coach Two Revers in Culpeper. And with me today is Ellen Phipps of Aging Together. Ellen, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
All right, so let's get started. Tell us about Aging Together.
Well, aging together is one of my most favorite things to talk about. It's really a very unique organization, to be honest. It's a
Hmm
501c3 nonprofit. We're a very small
hmm
nonprofit, and Aging Together actually first came about 20 years ago, where some very forward-thinking people at the CSB, the Area Agency on Aging,
hmm
for our Planning District 9, um, they looked at the data from the 2000 census,
hmm
and it was like, wow, oh my goodness, the the number of older adults in our area is going to be exploding.
hmm
And so they were sort of thinking, well, how are we going to meet the needs
hmm
and the challenges and the preferences for older adults? Are we prepared? Are we prepared for this growth, this explosion in the older adult population? And they thought, no, we probably not. And so from there, um, they pulled together an elder coalition.
hmm
There was some significant grant funds, including $1 million grant from Robert Wood Johnson Foundation that kind of got the organization going. And back in those days, in those early days, Aging Together was part of the CSB. We were under that area agency umbrella at the CSB.
hmm
Um, and then in about 2016, we
Okay.
became our own private nonprofit.
All right, so that was my next question was when did it kick off, Aging Together kick off as its own thing? So that was in 2016,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Well, it
And
became Aging Together in about 2013, but then we broke away, became our own 501c3 status in 2016. Yes.
and have you been involved the whole time?
No, I have not. I'm pretty new to the organization, actually. Although, what's kind of funny is, let me start by saying before I joined Aging Together 2 years ago,
Okay.
I had been with the Alzheimer's Association Central and Western Virginia chapter, and we covered the Culpeper and Orange and Madison regions.
hmm
So I was very familiar with this area, but I was there for 18 years.
Oh, so you're not new to nonprofits.
No,
Okay.
no, no.
All right.
And in my last 5 months at the Alzheimer's Association, I served as the executive director there, the interim executive director.
hmm
And then, but what's funny is way back in 2000, when people like Sally Morgan were bringing people together around the table.
hmm
Um, I was actually at the table there when they were having those initial
Oh,
conversations.
wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I really have not been involved, except to partner with them on various projects over the years.
hmm
But I was certainly humbled and so thrilled to serve, to be, to get the job as the executive director here.
Right. So in any nonprofit, there's who you serve, and then there's your target audience. So I tell you what, I turned 60 this year, and so who I consider elderly keeps on getting older.
Right.
Right. So who is your target clientele for Aging Together?
Yeah. Well,
And then
yep.
who are your um who's your target audience for support?
So first, to your point about
Mhm.
turning 60 and then everybody else is right older.
Right.
So I think another way to flip that and to think about that is, we're all aging.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's aging from the moment that we are born. We are all aging. We're all in this game together,
Right.
And so it's like aging isn't something that happens like on a certain birthday
Uh-huh.
or life event, right? And so that's how I like to think about, aging, that we're all aging. And so what I think what aging together is really about and who we're serving is we're serving everyone who's aging. We're
Okay.
serving everyone who wants to remain as independent as possible for as long as possible in their own homes. I mean, I think that's the crux. It's about
Mm-hmm.
quality of life as we get older. It's about um, being able to stay in a community
Mm-hmm.
that you live in and that you don't have to be forced to leave because there's no affordable housing or there's no transportation or you need a wheelchair accessible bathroom, so now you have to move into an assisted living because you don't have that in your house. So
Mm-hmm.
it's about helping people to get the support that they need to be
Okay.
able to live independently for as long as possible.
Okay. All right. That's a good answer. And so your target audience, because you are dependent on support from
Yes,
donors. So
yes, yeah.
so
Yeah, so right. So our I would say our target audience is probably 55 and up, right?
mm-hmm.
Typically those are people who are starting to think about retirement. Maybe they're starting
Mm-hmm.
to, maybe they're caregivers and they need some education about, caregiving, or they need resources. Um, but our target audience is also, what a lot of people like to call that sandwich generation. So
Okay.
those might
Right.
be, younger adults, like I'm taking care of my kids and I'm taking care of my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in that sandwich generation. So what kind of resources do I need? And so our mission is really, connecting people to resources to
Okay.
improve quality of life as we age.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sort of a networking organization. We have over 150 partners, and we work together to make sure that people have the information that they're seeking
Mm-hmm.
and the necessary resources to be able to remain independent. So really, our target audience is, you know, people 60, 55 maybe and older. And that's another thing. People, sometimes we like to lump all of those people into a category,
Right.
older adults. But
Mm-hmm.
as you point out, you're 60, you're working. I'm 64, I'm working full time. We probably have very different needs than people who are 95 right now.
Right.
you know
Mm-hmm.
so so we're not really all lumped into one big group over 60. We're all the same. No,
Right.
we're
Right.
not. And so it's I think you know uh, and it's not to even exclude children, because I also believe that educating young people
Mm-hmm.
about the value and the contributions that older adults bring to a community
Mm-hmm.
is really important, because unfortunately there's still a lot of ageism in our society,
Right. Right.
quite a lot.
So how did COVID-19 impact how you worked, how you do business, how you got funding? Uh,
Hmm.
what was the major impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on aging together?
Well, like many organizations, we had to pivot and
Mm-hmm.
and and change it up. And I'll tell you, I think it was either week one or very early on in week two. I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought, you know, if we have to figure out a way to remain vital and serve our constituents, or we're going to go away. We're
Right.
just going to disappear. So, one of the first things we did, and I'm so proud to say, because I'm not a techie person at all, but we were one of the first people in our area to do the Zoom
Mm-hmm.
meeting. So, right up front early on. I think it was, it was before April. So,
Mm-hmm.
everything shut down. I think by the end of March or that first couple of days in April, we launched what we called the Aging Together Regional Coalition.
Mm-hmm.
We invited all of our partners to join a Zoom meeting, and we said, hey, we need to stay connected. We need to
Mm-hmm.
keep talking. You guys have your fingers on the pulse. We need to talk about, hey, what's going on? What can we do? What are you doing? What are you doing? How can we support people? Where are the needs? What's happening? And we started with a weekly meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had 58 organizations join us on those initial calls.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And this is for the region. And so our region, of course, is Region 9, which is
Mm-hmm.
Culpeper, Orange, Madison, Fauquier, and Rappahannock.
Right. So going
So,
virtual was
so
one
yeah,
pivot. What were some other things
that
that
was
you did?
some other things that we did was, okay. So from that meeting, we started to learn
Mm-hmm.
about the needs, like what was, the real crisis, what was happening. And of course, it didn't take long for the world to realize how dire things were in the nursing homes and how that, really came to light at the
Right.
beginning of the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. We realized social isolation was huge, and we know that loneliness is right up there with those impact of, negative impact on those health outcomes, right?
Right.
Social determinants of health.
Right.
Loneliness is right up there with obesity and smoking and diabetes, and it can cause premature death. So we were
Right.
like, okay, what are we going to do? We decided to launch the iPads for Seniors program at that time. So we raised some funds. We raised almost $10,000, and we were able to get between 2 and 4 iPads to every long-term care facility in our region.
Oh, wow.
We gave them, yeah, we gave them to the activities department, and the activities, and they had to sign an MOU.
Mm-hmm.
This
Right.
this is for the residents. You will take pictures of them using it. You will give us stories about how they used it, et cetera,
Mm-hmm.
et cetera.
Right.
Um, and and um, and that was a way, with lockdown, that was a way that older adults could connect to their families, and of course they were able to clean them and sanitize them and share them amongst their residents, and so that was another thing that we did. And one other thing we did, and I wish I had, it's not too far away, I could run and get it, but that might mess up the thing
Right.
here. But I would love to show you because it's hot off the press. I picked it up yesterday afternoon. Another thing that we realized from our partners from
Mm-hmm.
this meeting, the coalition, people kept telling us, Ellen, there's so many resources in this community, but people don't know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are not connected to the internet. There's a lot of, even if they wanted to be in our rural region,
Right.
a lot of people can't be. And so we ended up putting together, it's actually a 90-page resource guide just for older adults. It's the first one of its kind in our region. It's specifically for people, 55, 60 and older, and it's not only a directory of all the wonderful services, a listing of all the facilities and home care agencies, not just that, but there's also an educational component to it. So, like, what are the warning signs, 10 warning signs of a heart attack?
Right.
What are the warning signs of a stroke? What are the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's disease? So I'm extremely proud of it. Our outreach director, Caroline Smeltz, pretty much, we didn't go to a publisher. We had Caroline, and she just did an incredible job. And
Wow.
it's a beautiful document,
I'm
and
looking forward
it's
to seeing it.
available.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, Yeah, it's
So
free. It's free for people. Yeah.
great. So was there an aha moment that really shifted your thinking?
I think it was that early on, when that 3 o'clock in the morning, when I woke up, and that was an aha. I really, it was almost like a panic, you
Mm-hmm.
know. It was like, oh my gosh, how is aging, how are we going to do our work? How are we going to help our communities in this pandemic? And my first thought was, oh my gosh, we're going to fade away.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second thought was, we are definitely not going to fade away.
Right. And
Yeah,
as a result of your determination not to fade away, you were nonprofit of the year in Culpeper, right?
yes, yes, we were really honored by that. They do such a great job, the Culpeper Chamber, and we were surprised because there's so many not great nonprofits doing so many great things, but we were very honored and humbled to receive that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So here's an interesting question. It's said that smart people learn from their mistakes, but wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So I'm gonna, I'm gonna, in the spirit of sharing and vulnerability, were there some mistakes that you made that maybe other people might learn about? I mean, we're coming out of the pandemic, but there's always something, there's always the next crisis. So I want to get, lessons learned out as much as possible. What
Yeah,
mistake pops to your head, and what did you learn from it,
yeah.
and what can others learn from it?
That's a really, really good question. And there were many mistakes for sure. I mean, that is for sure. I, so, one of the things I think that we learned was, um, it, I think it's not so much, well, let me think for a minute. I think it was really important to take the temperature of as many people as possible. So, for example, yes, early on, we had some thoughts, some ideas. Oh, we should do this, or let's go ahead and do this. And I think what we learned early on was the importance of listening,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
rather than just jumping in and doing,
Right.
and really listening to our partners, to our constituents, trying
Mm-hmm.
to reach out to older adults in the community. Sometimes, the professionals get
Mm-hmm.
together and they think they know what everybody wants.
Right.
Um, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that we are not really a direct service organization. And so it was really important for us, you know, we think we know how seniors were being affected, but you know what? We need to hear from the senior center directors. They had to
Mm-hmm.
close the senior centers in 5 counties. How, tell us what's going on with those seniors that can't come to the center.
Right.
So it was really important to listen and learn from those who really did have their fingers on the pulse.
Right. Right. Instead of ready, fire, aim.
You got it.
Right.
Yeah. Which,
Uh,
I get very excited about a new idea and I'm like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. But I think that's probably a good lesson, is
uh-huh.
to step back and listen.
Right. So, Ellen, obviously, I have your contact information, but not everybody who is watching this video has it. And so, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way? And if somebody wants to donate, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. Well, First, I'll give you our website, which is Aging Together, all spelled together, agingtogether.org is our website, and there's a ton of information on there and different programs, upcoming programs. We've got a caregiver series coming up this summer. Our resource guide information is on there. If people want to contact me directly, they can email me at ephipps, and I'm a Phipps with a PH, so it's ephipps, PHIPPS, at agingtogether.org. And so that's the best way to get a hold of me. People can call, I've been working remotely and using my cell phone. My phone number is 434-227-1105. I'm always happy to take phone calls. They can call the office number too, which is 540-829-6405. We do get messages from there as well. So there's multiple ways to get a hold of us, and we'd love to hear from you. It's real easy to donate on the Aging Together website. You can just, right on the home page, you can get that information.
Awesome. Awesome. Last question. What is inspiring to you today? What do you find most inspiring today?
That's a really easy question, and it couldn't be more timely. Last night we had our 5 over 50 celebration event, and it can be seen on YouTube and through our website. If anyone missed it last night, wants to watch it. That event is about honoring a person or a couple from each of our 5 counties, an older adult. And the purpose of the event is to highlight the value and the contributions that older adults bring to a community and the wisdom. And I have to say, since we went virtual, I was able to join the film crew to go out and interview each of our honorees in their own environments.
That's a blessing, isn't it?
And get to know them a little bit and see them in their own environment. And let me tell you, these people are extraordinary and such an inspiration. These are people who, seem to have boundless energy. They are all about giving back to their communities, and they are humble. And I just can't even put into words how inspiring each and every single one of them truly is. And honestly, if you want to see what I'm talking about, you just watch that event. It's only an hour start to finish. But they get such joy and pleasure out of, from giving to others. And I get inspiration from them just beyond belief.
Yeah, well, I feel inspired listening to you talk about it. So that's excellent. Excellent. Well, Ellen, thank you so much for joining us today and for being open and vulnerable and sharing your lessons learned. That's absolutely the whole point of this interview series. And I just want to thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.